for me, work for me, work that body for me, what, work it.
Hey ladies, welcome back to Somebody Come Listen to This podcast. I am your host, Nava. If you are new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can jump right into this video. So what I want to talk about today, ladies, if you're married, a lot of y'all have already heard this, that stats are showing that if you are sick or if you ever get sick, that husbands are 8 times out of 10 more likely to leave you than you would be to leave them. Most of the time, women stay with their husbands and take care of them until they're dead. But stats are showing completely opposite numbers when it comes to the wife being sick and needing her husband to take care of her. So this is why I don't believe that women should date down or marry down. I think you should always date or marry somebody who has what you have or more, because we should go by what stats are telling us. If you get sick, you're going to need the money to help take care of you, especially if the man you're with leaves you. You're going to need the finances to take care of yourself. So, and this is why I also don't believe that wives should just stay home and not earn any money and not have a career. But let's get into what the stats are saying and what the doctors are saying, and even what some people who have experienced this in their own lives are saying, and I will be right back after this.
It only makes sense, right? Think about it. They go to work and they know how to follow the policies, the procedures to get compensated, to get promotions, to interview. They know how to do all those things. And when they go home, they do not know how to follow the procedures and the policies when it comes to taking care of the kids, the household, and their wife. They think that they are the end all be all because they're bringing home money. And we're not even talking, she might be working too. 7 times out of 10 maybe. She's also working 40 plus hours. But this is an inconvenience to him. When she gets sick, that's an inconvenience to his life. Remember, she has made his life convenient for all these years. The moment she starts to inconvenience him, he's fucking out. It's kind of like mental health. Everything is a crisis until it becomes inconvenient. This is how it always works. Everything is a crisis until you have to pay money. This is just on the flip side where he's being inconvenienced, and so now he has to, do all the fucking big things. This is the way that he wants to fucking go big or go home. He fucking divorces his sick wife. We've seen it time and time again. Not surprised though. He no longer has a slave to do all of his work, and so he needs to leave her so he can actually find another one. But yeah, it's sick.
My husband left me to get food while I was undergoing surgery. Now my nurse has told me I was really sick and could possibly die, and she can't get in touch with my husband. I am 25F, and my husband, 27M, and I have been together for almost 4 years, and we do not have any kids. I had a same-day lumpectomy surgery yesterday. The tumor is not believed to be malignant, but I wanted it out since my mother had breast cancer. My husband got the day off work and drove me. The surgery was delayed for about 3 hours, and my husband was getting impatient. The surgeon finally came in and said she expected the surgery would take an hour. After she left, my husband said he was going to leave the hospital to get lunch when I went under since he hadn't eaten that day. I wanted him to be able to eat and was trying to be brave, but I really didn't want to be left when the surgery was only supposed to be an hour, so I asked him if we could pick up food for him on the way home. He gave me the impression he would stay, and I was wheeled away. Fast forward to 30 minutes later, I was being shaken awake by a nurse who told me I was sick and she was trying to get in touch with my husband. Apparently, during the surgery, my blood pressure dropped rapidly, and my surgeon was able to get the tumor out in 20 minutes. My BP was 70/30 by the time they got it out, and my lips had turned blue. I was very sick in my room. I was bleeding through my internal stitches, coming in and out of consciousness, and was vomiting. All the while, my nurse was trying to track my husband down. My surgeon called him, but he did not answer. I'm very thankful for the sweet nurses who took care of me and reassured me. It is the next day now, and I'm very emotional and angry about the whole ordeal. My husband did not apologize and has been incredibly defensive about the whole thing. His explanation for leaving was, I went out and got lunch, and then I was getting gas because I was low from driving your ass around. The surgery was supposed to be an hour. How was I supposed to know your heart could have stopped? I told him he had one job, which was to stay with me and tell me what the surgeon says. I could get over him leaving if he was apologetic or remorseful, but I'm shocked at his words / how little he seems to care for someone he claims to love. In his defense, he cared for me last night when we got home but left today after we argued. I'm sure I'm just still really emotional from anesthesia and being a bit dramatic, but I can't even look at him the same. He is usually attentive and caring, so I am baffled. I'm sure he thought the chances of anything going wrong were slim, but I can't understand his thought process. I sat for hours and hours in waiting rooms during all of my mother's breast cancer procedures and was nervous to even leave for a minute to get food. God forbid I don't have cancer because I don't trust him with anything medical now. Anyway, I'm unsure what I hope to get from writing this to strangers. I just needed to vent.
Let's find out. It is common for couples to vow in sickness and in health, but is this true? And do partners really stay around if the other one gets sick? And according to this article, they don't. Marriages are more likely to end in divorce when wives get sick. Iowa State University conducted a study. The study found that couples are 6 times more likely to end up in divorce if the wives get sick compared to marriages in which the wives remained healthy. The study also found that a husband's illness did not increase the risk for divorce. Unfortunately, this happens to even celebrities. This happened to Yolanda Hadid and David Foster when he divorced her because she got sick with Lyme disease. Comment down below of any other celebrity couple that you know that this happened to or personal experience. This is brutal.
She's not wrong, ladies and gents. In my first oncology appointment, I was like a little bit emotional and teary-eyed about the fact that I'm gonna have to go through cancer treatment alone as a single 30-year-old. And my oncologist was like, hey, I don't wanna invalidate your experience, but I can't tell you the number of women that walk into their first appointment with a partner by their side. They walk out of their last oncology appointment cancer-free and single. Let me put it right here. If I had to go through all of this shit, chemo, mastectomy, reconstruction, possible radiation, on top of a breakup, y'all were gonna see my ass on the front page news for arson. That would be the only option. But lucky for me, I started treatment single. I've done treatment single. I'm gonna do the rest of treatment single, so I shouldn't be in prison for arson anytime soon.
Why did he dump me when I got hospitalized? Oh, good question. You know what? I've heard a lot of these stories. Your physical illness inconveniences the narc. Okay, and it will mean that he'll have to do something for you. Plus, it might mean, God forbid, it might mean that he won't be able to have sex with you whenever he wants because you're hospitalized and you're now compromised. Classic narc. If he even takes you to the hospital, he's not going to stay. He'll be angry. It's interfering with his schedule. That level of selfishness knows no bounds. And if you need, it may cost him something above the deductible. I mean, it goes on and on. It's ridiculous. That's how awful they are.
There is a special place in hell for people who leave their marriage because their partner got an injury or diagnosed with an illness that renders them disabled for like the remainder of their life. And a lot of people like to argue and like, why would you want to stay in a relationship where it's not going to benefit you? When you get married, at that wedding ceremony, when they say through sickness and in health, they mean it. They didn't just write it there for fun or for filler, whatever. If you really, truly love someone, them getting in a car accident and them being paralyzed should not change anything. If you really love somebody, them getting diagnosed with a terminal illness and they need round-the-clock care should not affect you. That shouldn't be an issue at all. But the fact that some of y'all are willing to leave the person that you so-called married instead that you love so much because, yeah, after she got diagnosed with cancer, I didn't love her the same. No, you didn't love her at all. One thing that I know is that if I love someone truly, me taking care of them whether they're sick, they lose their leg, they can't think straight, they lost their memory, I don't care. I'm gonna be there to the day I die because I love you. Simple as that. But for some people, it's not the same. Like there was a situation when I was in middle school. I'm pretty sure I already talked about this story on my page, but whatever. But in middle school, I used to do theater, and I remember our costume designer was diagnosed with cancer. Sweetest woman ever, and I felt so bad for her. She was diagnosed with cancer, and this was something that she was really struggling with. And then on top of that, her husband ups and leaves her. And it's just that is insane. Your wife is literally diagnosed with terminal cancer and you're leaving her. To make matters worse, she didn't survive. She ended up passing away, God bless her heart. And I feel like she just passed away with no one at her side. She was lonely. Granted, she probably did have people, her own family and her own close friends, but like, imagine marrying someone and you think that it's endgame, that like the love is going to be there until the end, and all of a sudden you're diagnosed with a sickness, or you get in a car accident, or something happens where you are going to be left disabled, or you need round the clock care. Then all of a sudden your person, your significant other, the love of your life is pulling away because it's too much and they want able-bodied person. Like, I just can't wrap my head around it.
Ladies, this one is for you. If you're in a relationship, okay, let's say you're sick, okay, let's just say you're sick, and you tell your man that you're sick, and he doesn't do everything in his power to make sure that you're okay, sweetheart, what are you doing?
Who's gonna leave you if you get cancer or chronic illness? That's right, your husband.
I've made some time for you today. First things first, I'd like to say, please don't ever take marriage advice from someone that's not even married. I've been lucky enough to have one of the most amazing husbands, and his love is unconditional. When we first met, we had nothing to give each other, not even a place to live. We lived out of our car. And then we lived with several different roommates that were awful until we could finally afford our own place that was quite literally full of roaches. Then our car broke down. We had to ride the bus to work every single day. For the first almost 5 years of our relationship, we did not know where we were going to get our next meal, but we just worked our asses off. There was literally no one rooting for us, but here we are, doing the damn thing. Now we have built our own house at 25 and 26. I feel like cancer would be the least of our worries, to be honest.
Okay, so this is the type of woman that we don't talk to and we don't try to warn. Yes, he stayed with you because you were still healthy and still able to offer him something like cooking, cleaning, being homeless with him and your body. Ladies, be really particular when you're trying to help women and you're trying to show them the actual facts and the stats, and they don't want to listen to you because they're man. So just let them have it and let them find out the hard way. Let's get back into the rest of the videos.
Who's gonna leave you if you get cancer or chronic illness? That's right, your husband.
That's an old video. But listen, y'all. Listen, my wife, Felicia, has been diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic aggressive breast cancer since 2021. The cancer has spread from her breast to her lymph nodes, to her bones, to her spleen, around her pelvic area, around her abdomen area. She now has to get a port. She has to get a port so she can get chemotherapy. There is no way in hell I would ever leave my wife. So any woman saying that their man would leave because of a catastrophic illness, that's no man. That's not a man at all. It's a little fucking boy. There'd be no way in hell I would
Congratulations, Miss Helga. I don't get mad often, but you have managed to do that for me today. Let me tell you something. You might want to check with the medical professionals to see why people are doing that, because when my wife was on her deathbed in the hospital, they advised me to leave her there to die. But against their recommendations, I took my terminally ill wife home. She couldn't cook, couldn't care for herself, didn't know what time of day it was because she had dementia, sudden onset, but I cared for her until the day she passed. We had a wonderful 12 plus years together, and I was holding her when she passed away. So, before you go throwing men in that basket, you check with those doctors. Don't have a great day and sleep on that.
Listen to me and listen to me good. This is a minority. I work with a lot of men. I don't talk to men because every time I talk to men, they say some off the wall, crazy stuff to me, even though they know I'm married. One guy, I haven't seen him probably in almost a year now. He came up to me and started talking, being friendly, and I started talking to him a little bit because I work around men. This is a white guy. I'm a black girl and black woman. And he, like, as soon as I meet him, a couple days or the day of, I can't remember, it was so long ago, he tells me that his girlfriend has stage 4, some kind of cancer she has that she's battling. And he asked me, is it wrong that he wants to have sex with her? And he's like upset that she won't have sex with him. And I'm like, well, yeah, like she's kind of, probably in pain and doesn't feel like having sex. And like the weeks after this, he proceeds to just flirt with me, say sexual stuff to me. And it got so bad, like one day I just had to cut off talking to him. I haven't seen him since that last time. Y'all, I was literally eating a banana at work. He comes up to me. Coincidence. I know this sounds crazy. He's eating a banana also. And he comes up to me and says, did you know that if men eat a lot of bananas, their sperm tastes like bananas? Literally, that was the last thing he ever said to me. The last time I ever saw him after that. Because I cut him off after that. And like, these men that are saying that they're going to stay, yeah, they're going to stay. And no, they're not going to feel bad for you because you have a life-threatening disease. They might stay because I don't know. They might be still getting something out of being there with you, like your company, you talking to them. They're getting something, but they don't want to be there with you. Like they don't want to be. It's too many stories from doctors and nurses and stats proving that they really don't want to take care of you. I'm not saying there's no men that aren't doing it. It's just very rare and it's a minority. And like with anything that's a minority, we're not going to talk about that as much because it's not as pervasive. So let's get back into it, ladies.
Husbands choose to leave at the most critical time when your wife needs you the most. They're not typically able to do a lot of the things. So earlier we talked about whole concept of being like more domesticated.
Yeah.
Be able to go and do your laundry, to your cooking, to washing the dishes, taking care of the children, taking care of your wife. That becomes a burden and stress. And there must be a better way to cope with this or deal with this, but it's very specific or more to do within this Western culture, American culture. In Asia or other parts of the world, not as much.
See, there's this thing with men. They are not capable of taking care of someone else, okay? They expect everyone to take care of them. It must be their mothers that gave them that idea. So when I got cancer in my first marriage, people are like, why'd you leave your, there's neglect and being made to feel that I'm a burden because I got cancer. But it's not just me. Men always leave women who get sick. 9 times out of 10. I mean, unless they've been married for very, very long times. And we had just gotten married 2 years prior. So, didn't work. Didn't quite work. It's kind of like, it's cool. I mean, everybody expects that men are going to behave like that when, something happens to their spouse. Remember John Edwards? Remember how he had an affair with this other woman. His wife had cancer. Elizabeth, I think, was her name. And she was going through breast cancer, and he was having an affair and having a baby with another woman. And he did that in broad daylight. I mean, how would I know, right? Because it was on TV. It was so juicy. They just had to, shove that in. Everybody said, isn't this awful? Isn't this awful? Well, let's just put it all over the news. And yeah.
Men are known to leave their wives when their wives get sick, and I just started watching Love is Blind, the new season, and this woman is describing her family dynamic where both of her parents have MS. They're not together. Her dad has been married to her stepmom for 25 years, and she is the full caregiver of her father who has MS. She described her mother's situation. Her mother was never married, had been with a man for 15 years, and when her MS got really bad, he dipped out on her. She is trying to communicate that this is a marriage thing, that it's because her dad and her stepmom are married, the stepmom is the caregiver. This has nothing to do with marriage and has everything to do with the gender roles. The woman stayed with her partner when her partner got sick, but the man will always leave his partner when she gets sick. When he now perceives the woman as a burden, he will leave her behind. This is not new. We see this all the time. If a woman is diagnosed with a terminal illness, a man will not stick around. And yet women are the ones who are continuously caregiving to their partners, to their families, to their communities. Men just leave. They don't hold up to their responsibilities.
I can't stop thinking about how the divorce rate for men leaving their sick wives is so high that the nurses are taught to warn women patients when they get diagnosed with a serious illness. That's because those men didn't marry a partner, but a housekeeper, a childbearer, a nanny. A sick woman can't do those jobs anymore, so the men just leave. They actually feel entitled to this. I've heard men married 20 to 30 years tell their wives, I didn't sign up for this. People have no idea how common this is, especially with cancer patients. Before I was properly diagnosed with multiple myeloma, they thought I had ALS. This is his dating profile I found. I'm fighting for my life and he's out getting laid. Watching my dad take care of my mom into her last day, knowing that there are men who leave right after diagnosis, made me love their love even more. My grandpa too. He bathed her, dressed her, brushed her hair, cooked for her, read for her, carried her to bed till he physically couldn't. What's even more upsetting is how people are sympathetic to men who do this. Women who leave their sick husbands are rightfully dragged, but I've heard and seen instances of men receiving comfort and the wives are expected to let him go out of love. I grew up with the understanding that men can leave you at any moment for any shallow reason because it's just how it is. There was a lot of more replies saying how being a caregiver isn't easy, it's a lot of work, it's hard, it takes a toll on the marriage. Totally understand that. I had several family members that went through the whole cancer thing, and I get it. It takes a toll on everybody around you. But here's my thing. You decided to get married. You took those vows that said in sickness and in health. If you didn't mean that, why the hell you get up there and say it? And I know, you don't understand it till you gone through it. Truly understand that. But if you love that person, like you actually married them because you love that person and you meant in sickness and in health, then you're going to be there. And that's just that.
Okay, so my final thoughts are women have contributed to putting ourselves in this position. When you do everything for your sons, when you do everything for your husbands, they are not capable of returning it because you have kind of handicapped them. So my suggestion to women now, if you have young sons, is to make them start getting in the kitchen with you, cooking, make them start cleaning their rooms, make them start taking out the trash, make them start doing anything that you're doing or that your daughters are doing that they're not. Start that now. For the grown men, I can't tell you what to do with your grown men. If you want to stay married to them and not make them help or contribute to your life in any kind of way, you'll probably end up in this position. It's too many people out there warning us to keep saying la 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 Elmo's world. La 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 la. Like putting your heads in the sand. If you have a man that doesn't do anything but work, you better start thinking about your long-term plan for when you get sick or if you get sick. Like now, think about it now. Have you a nest egg of money some kind of way? I don't care how old you are. If you're 30, 40, 20 and you still have breath in your lungs, you better start putting back some money for if this happens to you. If you're one of the women that just, my husband would never do that, he loves me, my channel is probably not for you because my channel is for realists. Like, we like to stay in reality over here. Like, you could have the best husband in the world and like this could happen to you because he doesn't know what to do. He's not used to being a caretaker. He's used to you taking care of him and the kids. So do what you may do with this information. Ladies, get in the comments and let me know if you're married. Does your husband take care of you when you're sick, or are you just taking care of everybody else when they're sick? And when you're sick, you have to take care of yourself too. Like, yeah, no. Couldn't be me, but let me know what you thought about this video. And please, once again, support the content creators that you love, especially Black women content creators, because we are being shadow banned. They are playing with our subscriber counts. That's why we always say subscribe and share, because our channels can't grow and our voices can't be heard if you don't share the videos that you like. So with that being said, I will talk to you ladies later. Thank you for everything you've done so far, and I'll talk to you ladies later. Bye.